So have you ever actually wondered how a small, local business goes out and just conquers the globe? Welcome to this explainer. Today we're doing something incredibly practical. We are taking a comprehensive international business test bank and translating it into a strategic, highly actionable playbook for global expansion. If you've been wanting to make sense of the complex, high-stakes web of international trade, you are exactly in the right place. We're going to break down raw theory into the exact steps a company needs to scale way beyond its own borders.
Okay, let's just dive right into this. Before a company can pack up and start selling worldwide, they really have to master three fundamental pillars. First, the external rules of the global game. Second, their own internal strategy for growth. And third, exactly how they intend to reach the end consumer in a completely foreign market. It's not just about translating your website into a new language. It is a massive structural shift. We're talking about rethinking your entire supply chain, your corporate hierarchy, and your financial models all at the exact same time.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the macro environment, the rules of international trade, then unpack the core strategic dilemma, chart our course with the market entry strategy matrix, figure out structuring the global enterprise, and finally, execute the global marketing playbook. Let's get to it. Section 1, the rules of international trade. Imagine you're taking your company global right now. The very first thing you absolutely need to know are the rules of the game and the friction you're inevitably going to hit at the border. Take a look at this major barrier to trade, dumping. It's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. This happens when a company intentionally tries to undercut domestic producers by selling goods abroad for less than it actually costs to make them. Now you might be wondering, why on earth would a competitor willingly take a financial loss? Well, it's a predatory move. It's designed to drive local producers entirely out of business, so the foreign company can monopolize the market and just hike up prices later. To defend against this, groups like the World Trade Organization, along with national governments, step in. They deploy defensive shields like tariffs, which are essentially taxes on imports, and quotas, which physically cap the amount of goods coming in. This is all to protect domestic industries from just being completely hollowed out by predatory pricing.
To actually get your products through those barriers, you need precise mechanics. I know paperwork sounds a bit dry, but think of these 4 essential documents as the passport, visa, and background check for your goods. The bill of lading, that's your binding legal contract with the sea carrier or the airline. The commercial invoice dictates the exact financial terms of the sale and acts as your official payment receipt. Then there's the certificate of origin. This is absolutely crucial for navigating those tariffs we just talked about, legally proving exactly where your product was born. And finally, the packing list details every single item inside that shipment. Just imagine the absolute chaos if a massive cargo ship arrives in a foreign port and the certificate of origin is missing. Your entire supply chain freezes. Your goods just sit there on a dock, racking up exorbitant fees simply because the paperwork didn't match the cargo. These documents are literally the lifeblood of international trade.
Section 2, the core strategic dilemma. Once you understand that external playing field, you've got to decide how your company is going to play the game.
Think of this core strategic dilemma as a giant mixing board in a recording studio, right? But you only have 2 main dials, and they pull in totally opposite directions. On one side, you have the global integration strategy. You turn this dial all the way up, and it's all about economies of scale. You're selling the exact same standardized product everywhere. It maximizes your efficiency and drops your production costs through the floor. But the catch? You risk alienating local customers by completely ignoring their specific tastes. On the other side is the localization strategy. Turn this dial up and you are tailoring everything, the products, the services, the marketing, to suit distinct cultural nuances. Customers absolutely love it, but your production costs skyrocket because you are constantly redesigning your product. You're perpetually balancing this push for global efficiency against the pull of local responsiveness.
But looking at our source material here, there is a third, highly coveted path, the transnational strategy. Honestly, this is kind of the holy grail of international business. A transnational approach attempts to maximize both of those dials simultaneously. It aims for sweeping global efficiency while somehow maintaining that crucial boots-on-the-ground local responsiveness. It is wildly difficult to execute. Imagine trying to use the exact same highly efficient technological components inside a smartphone, but wrapping that phone in an operating system and a marketing campaign that feels perfectly native to a dozen different cultures all at once. It requires massive coordination, but it is the ultimate goal for truly dominant global corporations.
Section 3, the market entry strategy matrix. So you've chosen your strategic balance on that mixing board. Now, how do you physically enter that new foreign market?
This is all about an escalation of commitment when crossing borders. Exporting is for sure your safest bet. You produce your goods safely at home and just ship them abroad. Super low risk, but you also have very low control over how the product is actually sold. Next step down, you can license your intellectual property or franchise your business model in exchange for royalties. Step 3 is a joint venture. This is where you actually partner up with an established local firm to share the resources, the risks, and eventually the profits. Finally, you have foreign direct investment, like establishing a wholly owned subsidiary. Just contrast the ease of putting a box on a cargo ship with the massive legal, cultural, and financial undertaking of building a brand new factory in a foreign nation. As you step down this list, your financial risk shoots up exponentially, but so does your absolute control over the entire operation.
Section 4. Structuring the global enterprise. Okay, so you've entered the market. The boots are officially on the ground. But who actually reports to who?
To handle a global footprint, you have to build the right internal skeleton. A geographic area structure separates divisions by specific country or region. This works wonders if your main goal is heavy localization. Now, a product division structure separates the company based on what you sell, regardless of the country. This is fantastic for driving standardized global integration. But the matrix structure? That is where things get really fascinating. It uniquely forces collaboration across borders because employees actually report to both a functional manager and a project manager at the same time. Imagine having two bosses, one in your home country overseeing your region, and another halfway across the world leading your product line globally. It sounds totally chaotic, and honestly, it often is. But that forced creative tension is absolutely essential to pull off that complex transnational strategy we discussed a minute ago.
Finally, Section 5, the Global Marketing Playbook. We've built this massive internal machine, so how do we actually sell to this brand new global audience?
Here's the million-dollar question. Do you sell the exact same product in Tokyo as you do in Toronto? This rhetorical question is the absolute heart of global marketing, and it brings us full circle right back to our core strategic dilemma. Do you run the exact same marketing mix worldwide, or do you adapt?
So, the answer to whether you standardize or adapt doesn't just come from some gut feeling in the boardroom. Based on our source material, it actually comes from conducting a rigorous pestle analysis, evaluating the political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal factors of your specific target market. If you skip this step, the results can be catastrophic. Seriously, imagine launching a brilliant multi-million-dollar ad campaign that was a smash hit in your home country, only to find out it violates strict legal regulations or deeply held social norms in your new market. Total nightmare, right? The pestle factors ultimately dictate whether you have the luxury to standardize and save on production costs, or if you absolutely must adapt your messaging and your product to overcome cultural barriers. It is all deeply interconnected.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to leave with this thought. Navigating international trade is not just about drawing lines on a map or filling out a bill of lading. It is about constantly adjusting your strategy to the territory. The companies that master this balance, the relentless pursuit of efficiency combined with immense respect for local nuance, are the ones that truly conquer the globe. But as markets become tighter and more integrated than ever before, ask yourself, how will the next generation of global businesses balance maximum global efficiency with deeply rooted local cultural nuances? Keep exploring that idea, and we'll see you next time.